So he decided to call the radio station. And he didn't say anything wrong. He just said that I'm the guy you're talking about, and you have the whole story wrong, and this whole thing has been a farce, and once all the truth came out, they would realize they were wrong on what they were saying. Well, the people that were behind this, I guess, heard about that, and he really didn't say nothing wrong. He just was so frustrated, he wanted to say something. Well, next thing we know, DA detectives come down and arrest him, again, for the same exact charges as the previous time. And I get a phone call, and I said, what the hell's going on? Why is my son being arrested? We did everything we said we would do. And he said, I'll give you 100 reasons why. And I was like, what the hell's that supposed to mean? He said, well, your son was on Y100 talking about what was going on. And I said, no. He called and told me there was something going on the radio about the raid. And he was just so frustrated that it was all lies that he just called me. I said, he's not talking about it. He's not trying to bring it out. And we had to go to court again for the same exact charges. This time the judge looked at the case and said, I'm throwing this out again. And he told the police officers and he told the DA's office, if I see this kid in front of me again for these charges, somebody in your department or your department is going to have to answer for this. You don't have one thing different than you did before, and I threw the case out immediately, and you think you're going to put this case in front of me. And I think he realized, my lawyer tried to make him know that there was more to this story than he thought. But anyway, he threw the case out again, and this time he gave a strong warning to both DA's office and the police department chief inspector that if my son was back in that courtroom for these charges again, somebody there was going to have to answer for it. So he was released again. But again, he was arrested and put in jail and had to spend a weekend in there, and psychologically this just was tearing this kid up. What they had done to me back then, they news report that they put out. Now, I'm not blaming the news. They were going on based what this inspector was on the news saying to them. So, of course, they followed what he said. But the media really made us look bad, like we were some kind of drug people. And if they only knew just how taboo that stuff is to me and how much I can't stand drugs, because to me, drugs have one of the things that has destroyed this country in my eyes. But, oh my God, I'm losing thought here. It's so much. So from all the shutting up the businesses and all the stuff, and us getting back open and get going again, financially things had really got screwed up. So I had to sell my car wash, which I had put hundreds of thousands of dollars in to build. I wound up selling it for $1 because I just couldn't afford the place wasn't making enough yet to cover all the bills, and it was going to cost me like $10,000 a month out of my pocket. So the only thing I could do is unload it, and I sold it to a guy for $1. My gun range, same problem there. So actually one of the guys who worked with me at the warrant unit that I really liked, I sold him that business on a deal where he would pay me so much a month with no money, no nothing down, just take it all over, him and another guy. And they did. And I sold the business to them. But you might as well forget about that because I never got none of the money because they didn't take care of it. They ran it down. And sadly, he wound up having a heart attack and dying. And the only way I could have recovered my money from the sale was to sue his family, his wife, and his daughter. Yeah, he had a young daughter, and go after whatever they owned personally. And I just wasn't willing to put his family in that situation. So that was another hard lump I had to swallow. The school we had was a 235 state-operated school. And like I said, in Philadelphia, if you want to do anything like that, you have to go take this course. Well, when we bought the gun range from the detective, we bought the school, we bought everything, I had to let go of the school to another, for nothing. So I had to let every business I had go except for my propane and welding supply business. And we spent the next 8 years trying to pay off all the debt that we got put in from what the raid did to us. And, it was hard paying all that money for nothing, but we were still doing good enough where everybody was doing great. And, we built that business back up real good. And we were doing great again. And here we go 9 years later. This company that I'm dealing with, for no reason, just breaks my contract and buries me. I already said why I believe it happened. It's, because I tried to bring out something again. I tried to bring out something that was so wrong, and they retaliated and destroyed this business. So, twice, I tried to do what was right in anybody's mind and lost everything, and I destroyed my family because everybody's suffering financially. And it's hard for me to know that if I go back to the first one and I would have just left everything alone, we'd have never had that happen, and we'd be in a wonderful situation, and things would have been great. So it really bothers me that I destroyed my entire family. We're talking, my brother, my parent, my mother, everybody that depended on that business. Also took a big loss when the business could no longer sustain itself after them breaking the contracts and everything. And I just say, it's crazy, it's insane that I have lost so much by trying to do the right thing. And I really worry about my son Joey, my oldest, because like I said, when I went to see him Christmas, he couldn't even come out of his room. I had to go up there and talk to him, and the kid's suffering in such a hard way. I even tried to reaching out to Dr. Phil and pleading, my problem is that I really don't know how to do all this computer stuff, and so I don't know how to get my word out or my message out, but I did. I reached out, trying to reach out somehow to Dr. Phil and other people saying, would you please help my son? Please, take him under your wing and see if you can help him get past, because the kid did suffer through some very hard things, and it broke him. And I don't mean financially, I mean mentally. It broke him. And so I wanted to say, everything that I'm telling you, why this was going on all the way back to 2004. When this all started, I knew that the story was just almost too incredible to believe. So I started documenting everything. I made videos on YouTube, but I kept them private because, like I said, I wasn't allowed to talk about what was going on. But I had a knot in my stomach the size of a boulder that never went away, because if you're going to do something wrong to me, I'm not going to stand still for it. And because they arrested my son instead of me and did what they did, I had to bite my tongue and let them get away with it and go on. And now we're back in the same position again. We've been wiped out again. That story, if you watch the videos, that I tried to bring something out to the company that was really bad, and they retaliated and destroyed us. So, for somebody, me, who took the reins of this company 30 years ago and became the person in charge of it, I did a fabulous job for 30 years. And, but what's that matter? Because in the end, I wound up doing two things that, like I said, I don't think anybody would consider what I did was wrong. But what was done to me after I said what I said was wrong. But in reality, I destroyed my entire family. And that includes some aunts and uncles who were getting help through, me through the company that needed help. And my youngest son, Stephen, which I talked about my boys, besides battling cancer, he has 2 girls and a boy, and his son Michael is autistic. And if anybody out there has an autistic child or is a grandparent of one, you'll know, when you have a child that's autistic, you got to have 10 sets of eyes in your head. You can't take your eyes off them. They're quick. I mean, very quick. And it costs a lot to make sure you take care and do what you got to do for a kid like that. And when the businesses were good, I was able to help my son with everything. He worked for me, and I was able to help him make sure the kid had everything he needed, the right this, the right that. And with him losing everything, he's really, just trying so hard, him and his wife are working to death, and, it's tough for them because you can't just get somebody to watch your child when he's autistic, So a lot of times it's hard for them to get enough time for people to watch them to make them both be able to work the way they need to. So they're struggling too. So I know that there are reporters coming on here to look at the different things and see if there's a story here he's going to do, which I can't see how he wouldn't. And like I said, you got to remember one thing. Everything I'm saying, I have documentation that will prove it beyond any reasonable doubt. Everything I'm saying, forget about, there's 2 ways you approach things. It's either a criminal offense or it's a civil, thing. When it's a criminal thing, it's beyond any reasonable doubt. When you're tried, the jury must be 100% beyond reasonable doubt to find you guilty. If it's a civil matter, it's a preponderance of the evidence, which seems more likely than the other. The stuff that I'm talking about, you can hold it to the same standard as criminal, beyond all reasonable doubt. Because everything that I have and I say, I have proof to back me up that you will have no doubt in your mind that nothing I'm saying is wrong. It's all the way I'm telling you. And like I said, you can hold me to the standard of beyond reasonable doubt. I don't even want you to say, well, it sounds like he's right. If you see all the evidence that I have put away, and now I'm talking about it because, like I said, what are they going to do to me? I made sure all 3 of my boys are out of the reach of them, where they can't arrest them, they can't do nothing to them, they're out of their reach. So they can't do nothing that way to me. And if they want to come after me, go ahead. So, yeah, I'm talking about the story now because, when you have a lot to lose and you're worried about your kid going to jail, yeah, you bend your own rules and do what you think you got to do. But there's nothing left. They took it all from me. They destroyed everything. So, I don't care. What are they going to do to me now? Come get me, lock me up, and put me in jail for something? Bullshit? Go ahead. But, so, yeah, I'm now finally telling the story. But like I said, remember, everything that you watch on these videos of me, I have documentation that will show you beyond a reasonable doubt, 100%, that what I'm saying is accurate. And if you don't want to take my word for it, like I said, if this reporter gets into it, I'm sure these high-ranking officials who helped me through this would be more than willing to tell the story too, because I can't see why they wouldn't. I don't want to drag them into this because these are good people. You know, like I said, the one who helped me the most has over 40 years in a high rank. You know, he's a very high-ranking person, and I'm not looking to bring down a bunch of headaches for them. But if they needed to, I'm sure they would back me up and tell the story. So I'm putting this out to let you know this has been all the way back from 2004 till now. That is a lot of years for somebody to be under the gun the way I've been under. And because of the first time of me having to bite my tongue and letting everything go, I've had a knot in my stomach that just never went away. So maybe now finally bringing all this out, just getting it finally all out there, will help me get past that, because I have not been able to enjoy my life ever since this stuff started, because it's just one thing after the other, one thing after another. And I think it's time now to just say it, and whatever happens, happens. All right. Thank you for listening. And hopefully this reporter will, like I said, I'm sure he's, because I gave him the site to go on and look at the different things I have on there to show him, what I was trying to tell him. I didn't even tell him the first story. I did mention to him that Fox News did a very horrible story on me and made me look bad. And when I went to them and showed them back then that this whole thing was a bunch of lies, they said that, well, you can't do a retraction. It seems like you're telling the truth, and this whole thing was, wrong. Down the road, if there's something we could ever do, let us know. Well, here I am now going back to the same company and it's sad because when they did that first report back in 2004, they listened to what the chief inspector was telling them at the raid, and they made us sound like we were the biggest drug dealers on the East Coast, yet they didn't find one drug in my place, nothing. And people that know me for many years were calling me and saying, "Joe, are you selling drugs to kids?" I was like, "Oh my God, if I hear one more," I said, "You just know me better." And they said, "That's why we're having so much trouble believing what they said on the news." I said, "No, this whole thing is all a bunch of shit." I said, I'm going to get it outside. But like I said, because they took my son instead of me, that was the smart thing on their part, because I wasn't willing to risk his life to fight them. Now that they're doing it to me personally, I'm willing to fight them and let them try to put me in jail. But many people who had respect for me in many places, they figured the news said it. They lying, and people looked at me different, and that just ate away at me. That's why I said I've had a knot in my stomach ever since this. So now it's time for all this to get out and see some justice out of this. All right, everybody. Thank you. And take care of one another, as always, and God bless everybody. Thanks for listening. I do appreciate it.